Seeing as I'm down here, I may as well tackle the oil filter and sandwich plate situation. I did actually run the pipe for the oil feed, so you can see that's here on my hand is here with the blue tape over the end, so that's about the right length, which is really nice. But what I'm going to need to do is take the old oil filter out. I've got a new Hamp one because I think the Bosch one that I put on before is a little bit large for the actual sandwich plate. So I'm actually going to take that off and get a new one. That's fine. Also, I don't know if you can see, but there's two connectors, one to the side which has the extension which is for the oil pressure, and then the temperature NPT sensor is just screwed into the side. And there's also right at the so these two are here and here respectively on the left hand side, and at the bottom there's one which is just a NPT with a grub screw, and I'm not actually using it at the moment, which is nice because it means I can use that for this feed. I'm going to take this oil filter down and then maybe I'll be able to better show you what I mean. The oil filter's off, that leaves this 1 1/16 and nut. I'm going to have to take that off because I need to get to the grub screws and stuff like that, so let me take this off. So this is the glow shift adapter I was running. Not that convinced by that seal anymore, I think it's a bit past its best. It's another one I got made by Ultralight, it's got a double seal on it. I think I'm going to try this one instead. The positionings of things are the same pretty much. It's just a tiny bit higher. That might even do me some favours. So this is the temperature. I can put that there. This that's going to the oil pressure, I'm going to put it in the side, so here. And this one that's going to be left over is going to be for my oil feed. That's what I'm going to do. It's quite simple. I've got some PTFE tape here. I'm going to seal each of the things as I do it. Using PTFE tape, it's very easy, but all you need to do is make sure you get a nice clean bit of tape, cut it with some scissors, wrap it round and finish like that, so that when you do it up, you have the tail of the tape going with the direction you're doing up in. If you have it the other way around, as you do the thread up, it'll just remove the tape and you'll never do it up basically. You'll need to go about once round and that should be golden. Progress so far, I've got the temperature sensor there, I've got the adapter which is going to go to the oil pressure sensor, and I've got this which is again an NPT to AN3, and that's going to go in here. So same again, put some Teflon tape on, and the easiest way to remember it is you just turn the adapter the same way as you're going to need to turn it to tighten it, and with the tape it will just wrap around in the right orientation. Anyway, there we go, let's put that in. That's the finished look of the whole thing. So now all I've got to do is put it back on the car, put it up in place. So I've just got that lightly rested in place back there. Just about to see it. And one thing I'm going to do as well is I've got this heat shield stuff. I can see someone's who had the kit before me has made an attempt with this stuff. I'll leave that on there, but this is actually fiberglass insulation, and because it's fiberglass I don't want loads of stuff to get in the oil lines, so I'm just going to put some tape over there and feed this fiberglass sheath over the air pipe like that, and then it's over, and I can just feed this down. You see how close it's to the manifold there, and it's looking a bit better. You can just see the AN3 line up here, and I can just tighten that on to my AN3 connection there, and then this part of the whole thing is done. Then I can just do up this 1 16" sandwich plate bolt, should we call it, and then I can just put the Hamp oil filter on afterwards. Space constraints, kind of easier doing that up like that with the 11mm spanner. Now I can put that big bolt in. I just had a really good one there. So this bolt is actually should be inside the engine, but it came out with this when I undid it. And the thing about this is this is the old one that I wasn't using before, and it was actually longer. If you look at the thread, sorry, the shank on there compared to there, and that means that basically it will never tighten down that sandwich plate properly. That's why I started using this one. I wondered why I did, and that's the reason why. But either way, this was stuck on there, nightmare scenario, right? Because you're thinking, right, I need this, that should be back in the engine. So what I did was I had that in there like that was stuck, put it in the soft jaws of the vise, used my 1/16", and then the lowest setting of the impact, because obviously it was just going to probably spin it, and I just rattled it off, and you know, really I'm so thankful that came off, because I was going to be really screwed otherwise. So that's how to take one of them off if you make that unlikely mistake. But either way, it's off now. That's the Hamp oil filter. Now I just need to put a dab of oil on the ring, and I think I've got an open bottle of oil I'm just going to use for that, just the normal 5W40. I've got some different oil actually this time. It's some Manol stuff, but the most important thing, it's got that A3 B3 spec, and this is so much cheaper than Castrol, so that Castrol sponsorship didn't come in. I'm only joking, I don't get sponsored by anyone. So I just went some much cheaper stuff. The other thing about Castrol is they sell it in 4 litre jugs rather than 5 litre, so it can be a bit more expensive because you always need a bit more than 4 litres. Anyway, just going to put some round the ring of this, and then whack it on, and then show you the final setup down there. The bolt's fully tightened up, 1/16". And I just got the Hamp oil filter, and that. I mean, it says Hamp there. You spin it around a bit more, it says Marla. Interesting. Anyway, so one thing I did notice about it was it seemed like it had a little bit of oil or something actually on that ring already, but have it slightly hard, and I just put a little bit around the actual surface of the ring anyway. Alright, perfect. That is nice and all done there. I think we have a problem. If you look down here, that oil feed to the turbo is just way too tall, because it's got that adapter in there as well to the AN3 line, and it's actually touching on the exhaust manifold, which is obviously not what you want. So I need to figure out a better solution to this. You can see down here, or maybe you can't, it's very bright at the moment, I've got a an angle on there, so I've got 2 pen marks where I want to line it up to, but I'm going to have to take the whole turbo off anyway in order to work out what I'm going to do with this oil routing. Now this is what I'm talking about, is this. It's very, very high. I don't think it needs to be that high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off and see what kind of fitting it is, and I'll have to buy something that's a bit shorter than that. So I presume this top one is just AN3 to 8th MPT, and then if you look down here, there's obviously some specific thing going on here, a little restrictor. So I think I need to get something which is like a 90 on that, but like a thin one. It is shorter, but it is marginal. That's all I can do is try it. Right, so that's in there like that, and now I'm going to just thread this cable up with a 90 on it and see if I've got the space. Too tall, I need to think about something else. So that's down there, and it's done up with the 11mm spanner. Zoom in. Very windy outside, I'll try and get out the wind. So what I've got here is AN3 to AN3 90, and that's joined on to this AN3 inline filter. So this is going to sit on top of the sandwich plate on that silver connector there, and this is going out. So it's got an arrow on it, and that means that's the flow of the oil. So that's going to be flowing to the AN line, to the turbo oil feed. So it's going to sit like that. So what I'm going to do is nip that onto there, because I may as well, and then place this on to the top of that silver connector. Just use the AN spanners. This adjustable is money in the bank because it goes right down to AN3, AN4, so it's perfect. And this is just another aluminium spanner, so it's quite wide as well. Just stops you marking the hell out of all your connectors. I mean, it'll still take a bit of the paint off maybe, but if you use a metal spanner, that's really going to do some damage to it. So there we have it. But before all this, actually thinking about it, let's grab this out. That's a straight, and it will need to be a straight to go out of that 90, I think. Need to think about the best way, which side, which the 90 or the straight goes in the back there. I'm going to use the 90, and the straight one will go to that 90 into the top of the turbo feed. So that's going to be my full setup there. May as well nip that up now because it's easier, and I can just tighten that AN3 down to the top of the sandwich plate. So that's the angle I've got on that. That's all tight now. First of all, you need to tighten this filter down towards itself. These are kind of AN6 size. And then I've obviously already tightened this AN3 down to the filter itself. And then finally you want to figure out where the swivel wants to be for this line, and then tighten the whole thing up. So that'll be AN6 and whatever this is. It's AN3, but I need to figure out which line size it is. But there we have it. It's all in there. You can see it there. So I've got 8th NPT to AN3, both male, which is the silver bit. AN3 to AN3 90 degree, AN3 inline filter, and then this silver again, AN3 with a which has a 90 bend in it already. Lead line, and then this comes over here. The heat sleeving on it already, and that's a straight, and that's going to go on here just like that. And I'm going to get rid of that AN3 line I've got there, because I've actually got a 8th NPT to AN3 90, which is going to replace all that. So that's going to be nice and short, and that will mean I can have more clearance. So that's as far as I'm going to be able to get on that line today. I'm just waiting on some parts from Torx again. I tend to use Torx. They're on eBay, you can see, and tend to be pretty good for me. So as luck would have it, these two just arrived. This is the 90, so 8th MPT and AN3 90, and this is the same, but it has a swivel. Now I'd really like to use the swivel because then I could place the pipe wherever it wants to go, wherever I would like it to go, which would ideally be coming out this side, whereas this one will obviously, depending on where the threads, you know, where it gets tight, it'll be, you know, could be anywhere. So it's not really ideal, but it's a lot shorter. I thought I'd buy both just in case. So I'm going to try and go for the swivel first, and we won't put any tape on it yet, just to see if it will fit, because that would be my ideal solution. This is with a swivel on there. You can see it is possible to use that. It is very close, however, to the manifold in that position. So I think I'm going to go for this little connector here, and that'll be a bit shorter and away from at least the ports of the manifold, and see where it ends up on the thread. Right, I think it's going to be just about perfect then. It's still going to be quite close to this part, but it's best I can do, and hopefully I can get on the connection there. So that'll be the next battle. I can't really do it up without forcing it there, so I don't think I will. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have to take this line back off here, tighten this onto the AN fitting, and then tighten this back onto the sandwich plate again. So it's a bit of a thing, but at the same time I think it's going to work, and then I can just try and slip that over the whole thing as well, this fiberglass sheath. 10mm spanner on here, and turned it around. I think it's going to be perfect. I don't want to jinx it, but that looks like a good angle. The line I keep on trying to get to, and the bearing housing, I've got some silver pen, and on this little bit on the turbine housing I've got a black pen. So I'm there, and then look at that, beautiful. So I won't have to take that AN3 line off, it will just go straight on there, which is perfect. So that's it now. It's great news. I know everything's going to work, and then finally I can actually just tighten down these bolts on the turbine housing, knowing that everything's pretty much in place. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and this is it pretty much. Just do a full nut and bolt check on the turbo. Now it's off the car. That's all the bolts checked. There's 13mm on the compressor side, 13mm on the turbine side, 13mm on the 10AN outlet. Obviously you saw me do that with a 10mm for the feed, 17mm from the manifold to the actual turbine housing itself, and then these are some strange size. I think they might even be imperial. I've done those up as well. Just when you think you're done taking bits of metal out, seems like it's right next to there. I need to take a tiny bit more out there. Right, this is hopefully the final bit I'm going to have to do. That bit down there. Right, that should be the final cut. Let's hope it is. Right, we actually have some daylight between the whole thing now, which is great. So the turbo is all back on. This pipe here for the AN3 to the turbo feed. There's the 90 AN3 line tightened up with the heat protection over the top of it.